reading through section 2 of the new material. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rav Shimon ben Yehotzadak. Rabbi Yochanan says the name of Rav Shimon ben Yehotzadak. Nu v'gamru ba'aliyat Beit Nitzeh belod. They counted and decided in the attic of Beit Nitzeh, the house of Nitzeh in Lod. Basically saying the sages of Lod decided Kol avirat Shabbat Torah, for all the sins in the Torah. Im omrin la Adam avor va'al tehareg. If it's said to a person, transgress, commit the sin, va'al tehareg, and don't be killed. Basically, do the sin or I'll kill you. Ya avor, do the sin, va'al yehareg, and don't be killed. So the general rule: give up your life rather than commit a sin. Sorry, said that wrong. The general rule: sin rather than give up your life. You don't die for the Torah. You don't die for mitzvot. Chutz, except for avodat kochavim. Worshipping avodah zarah, gilui arayot, inappropriate sexual relationships, v'shvichut damim, and murder. So the big three that the sages of Lod set out: avodah zarah, gilui arayot, shvichut damim. Those are the only exceptions. Those are the only time you have to die rather than commit those sins. The Gemara asks, "Avodat kochavim lo." You don't have you have to give up your life for avodah zarah? That's really that you're not allowed to commit that sin? V'hatanya, don't we learn in a Braita? Amar Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael says, "Minayan she'im amru lo la'adam." From where do we know that if they said to a person, if they said to a person, Avod avodat kochavim va'al tehareg, worship avodah zarah and don't die. Basically, so saying the question, kind of assuming you're allowed to, what's the source that if someone says, worship this avodah zarah, or I'll kill you, minayin sheya avod va'al yehareg, how do we know that you should worship, that you should serve that other god, va'al yehareg? So basically Rabbi Yishmael is saying, what's the source that you're allowed to worship avodah zarah to save your life? Obviously disagreeing with the sages. Lo Talmud lomar v'chai bahem. The pasuk says v'chai bahem, that we're supposed to live by the mitzvot. V'lo sheyamut bahem. Not that we're not supposed to die for the mitzvot. So we see this that Rabbi Yishmael is clearly saying that you actually don't have to give up your life for avodah zarah. The sages of Lod said avodah zarah is one of the big three. No matter what, no matter the circumstance, give up your life. Rabbi Yishmael is saying it seems like initially you're actually allowed to worship avodah zarah, but even he places a qualifier on that. Yachol afilu b'farhesia. You'd think that you're even allowed to, afilu b'farhesia, even in public. So from what Rabbi Yishmael just said, maybe it sounds like you're always allowed to worship avodah zarah. You're always allowed to save your life and worship idols, Talmud lomar, but the pasuk says, V'lo techalu at shem kadshi, do not desecrate my holy name, shem kadshi, my name that is holy, v'nikdashti, rather you should sanctify my name. So the pasuk is saying that if you're in public and you're forced to worship an idol, if someone drags you into Times Square and says bow down to this idol, that's a chilul Hashem. It's degrading for the Jewish people. It's degrading for God. So in that case, you have the responsibility, even according to Rabbi Yishmael, to give up your life. But if it's in private, Rabbi Yishmael seems like that the avodah zarah is not part of the big three. Maybe it's a big two. You don't have to give up your life for avodah zarah. So why are the sages of Lod saying, sages of Lod who are a little bit later, Rabbi Yishmael says you don't have to give up your life for avodah zarah if it's in private. So why are they saying in this first section that you do? Inhu de'amur, they who said, the sages of Lod, what they were saying, ki Rabbi Elazar. They're following the opinion of Rabbi Elazar. Yes, Rabbi Yishmael says you don't have to give up your life for avodah zarah in private. Rabbi Elazar disagrees. Tanya, Rabbi Elazar omer, as we learned in the Braita, Rabbi Elazar says, v'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha b'chol vavcha b'chol nafshecha b'chol ma'odecha. You must love Hashem your God with all your heart, with all your life, and with all your possessions. As we interpreted, B'chol nafshecha, loving God with your entire life means you'd be willing to sacrifice your life for your love of God. Praying to another God would be a betrayal of God. It's like cheating on a spouse. So your love for God should be so overwhelming that you'd give up your life, meaning that you should give up your life for avodah zarah. And then the Gemara goes on a little bit of a digression, but an important lesson to learn. Im ne'amar b'chol nafshecha, if the pasuk is going to say b'chol nafshecha, to give up your life, lama ne'amar b'chol ma'odecha, then why does it need to say with all of your possessions? The im ne'amar b'chol me'odecha, and if you're going to tell me give up all your possessions, lama ne'amar b'chol nafshecha, why say give up all your life? What the Gemara is saying here is just tell me whichever one is the bigger sacrifice. I know if you tell me I need to sacrifice A, B, and C, if A is bigger than B and C, if I need to be willing to sacrifice A, obviously I need to sacrifice B and C also. So don't list me all the things I need to sacrifice, just list me the most important one, the most significant one, and then I'll know that I have to sacrifice less important things also. If I said you have to be willing to miss school for a chesed trip, obviously, you're allowed to miss advisory for a chesed trip. So why tell me both? So we say, im yesh lecha adam, if you have a person, shegufo chaviv alav mimamono, his body, his life is chaviv alav, is more precious to him mimamono than his life. So for some people, their life is the ultimate sacrifice. Their life is a more significant sacrifice than their property. Lekachna emar b'chol nafshecha. That's why it says with all your life. So for the people who life is the biggest sacrifice, it says give up your life. But if you have a person whose property is more beloved to them than their life, maybe that they care about their family's well-being or something like that, that you have someone whose money is a bigger sacrifice. That's why it says b'chol me'odecha, because for some people that's the biggest sacrifice. So the Gemara basically says that, yeah, it should just tell you the bigger sacrifice, but ultimately there's no one clear answer. Different things are like the level of sacrifice is different for different people. So it says both to kind of cover all the bases. But at this point we found the source for Avodah Zarah being one of the big three. The pasuk is V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha, and now we move on to the next two. Gilui Arayot v'Shfichut Damim. But what about, how do we know you have to give up your life for inappropriate sexual relationships and murder? Maybe you're allowed to do those and save your life. Titania, as we learned in Braita, Rebbe Omer, Ki Ka'asher Yakum Ish Al Re'ehu Uritzacho Nefesh Kein Hadavar Hazeh. So Rebbe quotes the pasuk. This pasuk was originally dealing with the rape of a married woman, and it said, Ki ka'asher yakum ish al re'ehu. Just like when one man gets up against his friend, uritzacho nefesh, and he murders him, kein hadavar hazeh. That's what this is like, meaning that's what the rape of a married woman is like. So Rebbe is saying, he's quoting the pasuk that the Torah says that rape of a married woman and murder are very similar, that they're comparable. But what are we learning from Rotzeach? What are we learning from murder? Why is the Torah saying, oh, this case of rape of a married woman is just like murder? What is that like? Why do you need to tell me that? What does that teach us? So maybe it's not just coming to teach us something. We're actually going to learn something also. Don't worry about it if you don't understand this phrase exactly. We didn't really delve into too deep in class, but this is an important phrase to know. Makish Rotzeach l'na'ara ha'ma'orasa. That what the Torah is doing is it's juxtaposing. We said juxtaposing is just a fancy word for putting two ideas right next to each other. There's a juxtaposition in the pasuk. The pasuk says, right here back in the pasuk, murder, uritzacho nefesh, kein hadavar hazeh. That's what this is like. That's what rape of a married woman is like. So we see murder and rape of a married woman are put right next to each other in the pasuk. So there's a hekesh, there's a juxtaposition. And rotzeach l'na'ara ha'ma'orasa, between murder and an engaged woman who's raped. So, and when two ideas are juxtaposed, it means we can borrow ideas from one to the other. We can apply a halacha from one case to another case. And actually it's going to go in both directions. Ma na'ara ha'ma'orasa nitan lahatzilo b'nafsho. This is actually something we saw in an earlier unit. Just like a na'ara ha'ma'orasa, a married woman who's about to be raped, nitan lahatzilo b'nafsho. You're allowed to save the victim with the life of the rodef. You're allowed to kill the rapist who's about to rape a married woman. Af, also, rotzeach, a murderer, nitan lahatzilo b'nafsho. You're allowed to save the victim by killing the potential sinner. So we're saying that, just like we know that you're allowed to kill the potential rapist, and then since the two ideas are put right next to each other, we can say you're also allowed to kill the potential murderer. And the other direction as well, umakish na'ara ha'ma'orasa l'rotzeach. There's also juxtaposition in the other direction. Ma rotzeach yahareg va'al ya'avor. Just like murder is a sin that you have to die va'al ya'avor and not transgress. So murder is a sin that you have to give up your life for. Af na'ara ha'ma'orasa tareg va'al ta'avor. Also, gilui arayot. So he said sleeping with a married woman or a married woman sleeping with another man. Tehareg va'al ta'avor. She has to give up her life and not sin. So we're saying that we take the law of Yahareg va'al ya'avor. Yahareg va'al ya'avor applies to murder, and since the two ideas are right next to each other, we say it also applies to Gilui Arayot. So what we've done is now we know that the source for Gilui Arayot is a hekesh, is a juxtaposition with Rotzeach, with murder. But the Gemara has to say, Rotzeach gufe minalan, but what's the actual source for murder? We just said, we know that murder is Yahareg va'al ya'avor, so we can apply that to Gilui Arayot as well. But what's the actual source that murder is minalan? What's the source that Rotzeach, that murder is Yahareg va'al ya'avor? Svarahu. It's a logical argument, and we explain the logic through a story. Dahahu da'ata lekamei derabba. Like that one guy who came in front of Rabbah, someone came to Rabbah with a question, va'amar le, and he said to Rabbah, Amar li mari dorai. The master of my area said to me, Amar li, Zil, go, katzle leplania, kill Ploni, go kill so-and-so, v'ilo, and if you don't kill him, katzlina lach, I'm going to kill you. So the situation is, Ruvain comes to Rabbah, and Ruvain says, the local governor told me I have to kill my neighbor, and if I don't kill my neighbor, he's going to kill me. So what do? Do I kill my neighbor? Do I let him kill me? Amar le, Rabbah said to him, liktoloch velo tiktol. He should kill you. Let the governor kill you. Velo tiktol, and do not murder. Why? Miyemar, who says didama didach, that your blood sumak tfei is more red. We said blood being red is an idea of like value, of worth. Who says that your blood is redder? Dilma, perhaps. Dama, the blood. Dehahu gavra. Of that man, sumak tfei is more red. as you said, that if you're going to murder someone, you're basically saying that I've decided that my life is more valuable than his. One of us is going to die, so I'll say it'll be him. But you don't know whose life is more valuable. Ultimately, it's an unknowable fact of whose life is actually more valuable. That's not a calculation that we have a formula to, that as human beings we're capable of doing. So the logic is that you can't. How could you murder someone and save your life? How do you know if your life is more valuable? Who should die? So you just sit back and let yourself be killed and don't murder someone else. So what we found here, as to wrap up, the source for avodah kol chavim, the source for giving up your life for avodah zarah is that you should love God with your entire heart, with your entire life, that you should be willing to give up your life. The source for Gilui Arayot is a hekesh. We say, we take the law from murder of Yaharig Va'al Ya'avor and we apply it to Gilui Arayot because the two ideas are right next to each other in the pasuk. And the source for murder is svara, is logic. That how could you take one life over another? Who knows which life is more valuable? That's the end of this chunk of Gemara.